Today I'll be talking to you about hybrid cars and why I believe that everyone should either be driving one or make their way to driving one. I'm sure you've all heard now that there's plenty of pollution today affecting our environment, and the problem we all face today is vehicle pollution. High emissions vehicles are not only the cause of the problem, but they also use plenty of energy as well. And I believe everyone should be earth and energy friendly and drive a hybrid vehicle. Car pollution is something that we all contribute to daily. According to thegooddearlady.com by an unknown author, car pollution statistics can give you the knowledge that you need to compel you to make changes in your life to lessen your impact on the environment. Here are a few pollution statistics that you need to be aware of that might be a bit staggering to you. SUVs release up to 47% or more of car pollution than the average size car. The amount of car pollution that is released from cars is much more than the amount of pollution released by a nuclear power plant. Ozone pollution is primarily due to the pollution that is released by cars. 72% of nitrogen oxides and 52% of hydrocarbons, which are a component of smog, are released by cars. There are 752 vehicles for every 1,000 peoples in the United States. In China, the number of cars that are driven has doubled every year for the past 5 years. Half of the people in the United States live in areas that fail to meet federal air quality standards at least several days a year. And 80 million people live in areas that are continually not living up to these standards. And for my second main point, I'll tell you a little bit about making changes in some cities that are trying to make changes in a positive way and impact their environment. Many major cities are making wise decisions when it comes to trying to protect their citizens from high emissions powered or produced vehicles. According to an online article by Zyman News, what's on Zyman.com, posted on January 20th by an unknown author, a ban on the running of high emissions motor vehicles on busy roads of Zyman will come into force in the first quarter of 2010. According to the Zyman Environmental Protecting Bureau and Road Transport Bureau, Zyman has announced a series of anti-pollution measures to control vehicle exhaust, which is the major air pollution source in the city. An environmental protection sign which certifies that exhaust emission standards have been met will be posted in all operating cars on the road. They have a way to distinguish it. Also, a green sign on vehicles indicates the vehicle has met national emission standards #1, and vehicles which get a yellow sign will be banned from the busy roads, and that means they haven't met the air pollution criteria. And also, that's it. And then high emission vehicles also use a lot of energy. According to bicycleuniverse.info.com, the amount of energy used by automobiles is staggering. Transportation of all types accounts for more than 25% of all the world's energy use, of the world's commercial energy use, and motor vehicles account for nearly 80% of that. In numerical terms, the figures are hard to comprehend. The world used over 1 trillion liters of motor gas in 1995, and that was 15 years ago, so you can just imagine how much it's gone up to in 2010. And the United States also accounted for 46% of that total. In fact, America's gasoline consumption easily outstrips its production. The U.S. currently imports over half of its oil, 52%, even more than it did before in the oil crisis, or in the oil crises of 1973 and 1979, back if you were alive back then, which most of us weren't, when gas prices shot up out of nowhere. This dependence on foreign oil has significant economic consequences, and many observers feel that protecting our right to oil was the real reason for the U.S.-Iraq War of 1991. That being said, I believe everyone should drive an environmentally and energy-friendly car. Furthermore, a hybrid vehicle is a great choice. For my third main point, since everyone should drive a hybrid vehicle, the next question becomes, what exactly is a hybrid vehicle? SciSorg.com says, what is a hybrid car? Basically, it's a normal fuel-efficient car that has two motors, an electric motor and a gasoline-powered motor, and they compensate for each other. It also has a special system to capture braking energy to store in an onboard battery, so we save a lot of energy. Obviously, that's what the whole point is. Hybrid vehicles, as I stated before, are environmentally friendly. And according to Buzzle.com, how do hybrid cars help the environment? The answer to this question can be understood in its totality by comparing the effects of both hybrid cars and gasoline-powered cars on the environment. Cars that run on gasoline or diesel emit tremendous amounts of chemical fumes, pollutant, or other harmful byproducts. In comparison, hybrid cars are much gentler on the environment, and fewer and cleaner emissions are a major reason why hybrid cars are popularly known as green cars. Reduced emissions ensures lower pollution levels, something which is highly necessary in today's times. And another way in which hybrid cars benefit the environment is that they help by lowering the noise pollution, which is a big factor. I don't know if you live in a big city and you can't go to sleep at night because the cars are so loud on the road that, yeah, hybrid cars are a lot quieter. You can barely even tell when they're running. Hybrid car engines go about churning the required amount of horsepower without any excessive roaring. When switched onto electric power mode, these cars are virtually silent when in operation. That does go a long way when reducing the noise population, doesn't it? Global warming also is one of today's most critical environmental issues, and one that desperately needs to be addressed and resolved. In the recent past, the world has slowly but surely started witnessing the adverse effects of global warming. Switching over to hybrid cars on a massive global scale will be a big step on which will significantly benefit the environment. Reduction in smoke and chemical emissions are a large-scale basis which go a long way in tackling the issue of global warming. When it comes to mileage, hybrid cars outperform regular gasoline cars by approximately 20 to 30%, which is quite significant in terms of gas mileage. That's a quite significant number in today's fuel scenario as well. Shutting off the engine when not required, reusing the energy spent in braking, advanced aerodynamics, better designed tires, etc. are some other advantages of having a hybrid vehicle. And also savings. Usage of a hybrid translates into at least a few $100s saved every year on gas because it uses about half the amount. And ensuring a few $100s worth of savings every year is always good for everyone. Also, the recent tax benefits being offered by the U.S. government to hybrid car owners does make the decision to switch to a hybrid vehicle more sensible, doesn't it? And for my conclusion, everybody likes to be a part of the solution and not a problem. So my solution to the pollution problem of today is everyone should drive a hybrid vehicle. It's very simple. While they may be a little steep in price, they play a huge role in helping decreasing the amount of pollution emitted, and they're also very energy friendly. Thank you. That's what a hybrid car looks like. That's all the stuff that it's in.